I saw it on TV. I guess it'll be one empty seat when I wrestle at Wembley. I used to tear my shirt, but now you tore my heart. I knew you were a Hulkamaniac right from the very start.
Right from the start, you were my friend.
I'll see
This
you
is not the
again
end.
when the Hulkster comes to heaven.
Heaven, heaven, heaven.
We'll tag up again.
Again, again. The world just lost
Another Hulkamaniac.
a friend to the end. I'll see you again.
I wish Hulk's love could bring you back again. You were my friend, and I'll see you again.
I will see you again.
When I climb back in the ring, you know we'll win this fight. I wish you were here at ringside to cheer me on tonight. The spotlight now grows dim, and now it's not on me. The prayers we said together are still our guarantee. You were my friend. I'll see
This
you
is not the
again
end.
when the Hulkster comes to heaven.
Heaven, heaven, heaven.
We'll tag up again.
Again, again. The world just lost
Another Hulkamaniac.
a friend to the end. I'll see you again.
I wish Hulk's love could bring you back again. You were my friend.
You were my friend.
I'll see you again.
The world just lost. The world just lost my friend. He's my friend.
You were my friend.
You were.
I'll see you again
I'll see you.
when the Hulkster comes to heaven.
Heaven, heaven.
We'll tag up again.
Again,
The world just lost
just lost.
another Hulkamaniac.
The wrestling landscape has officially changed. We have lost possibly, well, in my opinion, maybe not the opinion of others online, but the largest and best known professional wrestler ever in Hulk Hogan. Now, I'm not going to be the one that'll tell you you need to mourn Hulk Hogan. You need to be sad for Hulk Hogan, because I know Terry Bollea did some awful things that got him removed from the company, that actually got his Hall of Fame status revoked, if you remember.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to be one to tell you how to feel about Hulk Hogan. The only thing I'll say is, to the people posting the video of the man being taken out of his house on a gurney and putting, you know, the typical celebration emojis, the confetti, the disco ball, it's a little
There's only
it's a little
one
far, I think.
Hulk Hogan, and that I think that's the crux of probably our conversation today. We already went back and covered his career pretty much in depth in the Hulkamania 25 years. Or was it? What was the episode called? Was it 25?
So it was the 25 years of Hulkamania.
Yeah.
Maybe not 25, maybe more. What? It was the anniversary of Hulkamania. 40 years. I don't know what 25. 40 years of Hulkamania.
Well, we do a bunch of 25 years later videos. That's why I'm getting confused right now.
Oh yeah, yeah. No, we did the 40 years of Hulkamania, and what it was, we did a before, and this was before the big boom when he dropped the leg drop on the Iron Sheik, won the title. Hulkamania ran wild. So his AWA days, getting into wrestling, that kind of stuff. And then we did an after, which would have taken place after his 2002 comeback. Because, I mean, if you're a wrestling fan, you know about, the 80s, you know about the NWO. And, I mean, it seems like right now the big thing they're beaten to death with a stick is his comeback in 2002. Like, they're sharing that all over the vault, all over WWE.com.
Yeah, which I think is hilarious.
I'm not sure.
Because they keep posting, like, oh, the match with The Rock was a real turning point in his career.
Yeah.
Which it probably is. It was. But I don't think it was because of The Rock. If he would have fought Austin or, probably Austin or Triple H at that time, it would have been probably considered the same thing. He would have got the same reaction in Toronto as because where they were at. That led to the
Bizarro World.
Yeah, that led to the resurgence of the red and yellow Hulkamania that came later, and then his last championship run and stuff like that. But I think it's just because The Rock is in the position he's in, and he's trying to put himself. That's just a Rock.
Oh
thing.
yeah,
that's just a Rock thing.
Oh, definitely. I think Brian Zane said it best. If the Hogan Rock match didn't happen like it did, probably would have had a lot different 2000s run for Hogan. Who knows if he didn't get that reaction? I mean, if he didn't get the reaction, he wouldn't have got the Nostalgia Heavyweight title.
No.
I don't think we would have got the tag team title win with Edge on the 4th of July. I don't think TNA would have been clamoring to bring him in like they did. It's a lot of what ifs, but yeah, that was the biggest point that I tried making on social media. Is everyone talks about Rock and Wrestling and how Hogan obviously bridged the gap there. Him, Cyndi Lauper, Captain Lou Albano, which is weird. Hogan dies on the same year that Rick Derringer, who wrote Real American, died, and the same year that Cyndi Lauper is on her retirement tour. But people talk about the Rock and Wrestling. You obviously hear about the NWO because that was like a renaissance for wrestling. But that undisputed title win and being the champion from WWF to WWE, it's fitting that it was Hulk Hogan. And then, like we talked about before this, when the WWE Network was coming on, that's when he came back into the fold. He was the face of the network. He came out, it seemed, every pay-per-view to, shill the network. Make sure you go watch all my classic matches, brother. And that's when he helped guest host WrestleMania, and that was really the last time he was in favor with the company. But again, people say, the WWE Network era, Hogan's there again to bridge that gap. It's just 4 major times within wrestling, and Hulk Hogan's there. And even in smaller occasions, like the mini, infamous Monday Night War between WWE and TNA was brought on because Hogan, the new generation of wrestling, really took form, and WWE pushed it because Hogan left. Hogan went to WCW. There's just a lot of times where Hogan is the crux. He's the main. A lot of people don't like that. Like I said, I find it crazy. I saw a X thread where someone said Macho Man would have came in the following year, which he did, to WWE, and he would have had just as big an impact and wrestling would still be where it is today? I don't think so. I love Macho Man. He is definitely flamboyant. He definitely had the charisma. Hulkamania was started before the WWF. Like the AWA, there's a famous night where he beat quote unquote Nick Bockwinkel and go for the AWA title, but then there was a screwy finish. So the fans saw him celebrate. They were all excited, but then the belt was taken off him and they booed. So even then, Hulkamania was booming, and I mean he was in Rocky 3 for Christ's sake. He I don't think you were going to get someone as popular, as important to really propel the WWF, and it shows because how many times did they try and replace him? Right, not in a
Yeah.
negative way. I will. Vince always wanted the next Hulk Hogan. Ultimate Warrior didn't work out. Tom McGee didn't work out. Lex Luger didn't work out. It took until you got like the literal opposite of Hogan in two instances to find your next guy. Bret Hart, a technical, not very charismatic guy who could go in and put on a clinic, and then a bald, all black wearing fuck authority in Stone Cold. Like the two opposites of what Hogan is. But
And I don't
yeah,
think we ever
they
really
could
got
never.
somebody close to Hogan that kind of like broke
No.
through the like the mainstream culture until Austin and then Rock and then later Cena, which again, say what you want about those guys. If they're even their popularity now and at that point, I don't think it comes close to the popularity that Hogan had in the late '80s, right?
No, yeah, Hogan was well known by everybody. I mean, Disney to go off of that, Disney put on a parade for him when he signed with WCW.
Yeah,
I think the closest really that we've gotten or will get is Cena, but still he like people know of John Cena and they know memes of John Cena. But I feel like in the 80s everyone knew who Hulk Hogan was, whether they watched wrestling or not. He was appearing on all the late night shows, trying to have a movie
just
career.
wrestling wise, there's no match John Cena could put on that's gonna draw 9 million people to NBC
No, nope,
to watch. Even like with streaming, like nobody like 9 million people aren't gonna tune in to Peacock or whatever.
no,
It's a different time now. But if there was like Twitter and social media and stuff like that back in the '80s, Hogan would be putting up the like 100 million views on Twitter and YouTube and shit like that. That they always like to brag about, like, oh, wrestling's more popular than ever. Look at all these clicks we're getting on social media. Like, it isn't the algorithm fucking promoting your shit to the front because of the
right.
X thousands of people that interact with it immediately. That's how the algorithm works, right? Like this video I'm watching right here has 822,000 views, right? 7,000 likes of Hulk Hogan, and it's the Hulk Hogan coming back to save Randy Savage right before WrestleMania 5.
Oh, okay.
The Mega Powers implode or whatever.
Yeah,
That's
Hogan.
like nobody's gonna come close to Hogan, at least in the wrestling world, to stuff like that. And I do feel bad. It is a shame. It is that it kind of feels celebrating his life and his career feels kind of tainted. It feels kind of taboo right now online.
Oh yeah,
And I'll say this. I'll say this to people. If you want to mourn Hulk Hogan, like you can. Like there's nothing wrong with that. I told this to the guy I work with. We were talking about it. I wasn't too upset when Hogan passed away. Because to me, I already mourned the death of Hulk Hogan like 10 years ago. It felt like
yeah.
like, and if you're still going through it, that's fine. His career meant a lot to a lot of people. He was a lot of people's childhood, and one tape from 2007 they got released without his permission. Yeah, he said it. Well, newsflash here: about 95% of the people that you look up to, especially in wrestling, probably have done something just as bad or worse. Close to that level. I could probably, off the top of my head, I can probably give you a select handful of guys who I would think probably don't have any type of skeletons in their closet, right? Like these guys are just the business they're in. These guys are carnies. They're drug addicts. They beat their wives.
I think so.
It's just the nature of what it is. It's getting better now. New young guys, they got a lot better situation around them. Like they're not on the road 300 days a year to make these bad choices. But a lot of the guys we grew up with, that's the world they lived in. That's the world they thought it was okay. It's just like PC culture right now in general. That these like
because they didn't have video games.
Yeah, thanks, Mark. These guys they grew up in a world where a lot of saying a lot of this stuff. Not necessarily the N-word, but like doing certain things was okay, and making jokes, and that's why I don't get like, oh, this guy said the F word in a tweet in 2011. I'm like, so I should hate this guy now in 2025? Like back in 2010, 2011, you couldn't go anywhere without hearing it, you know?
I think for what I think is the backlash for Hogan isn't, I mean, him saying it was awful, but the fact that when he was confronted on it and most people would apologize, he came back with, you got to watch those cameras. I think that's the issue, because to me, that essentially says, yeah, I stand by what I say. And that's where I think the issue comes at. But yeah.
I'm not trying to be a Hulk Hogan apologist here either. Like, if you fucking hate Hulk Hogan for what he said and he hurt you, like, that's also fine. Like, I'm not gonna sit here and say that, oh, just because he said it, he fake apologized for it, and he was recorded without blah blah blah. So you just have to respect what he did for the business. No, because then I'd be a hypocrite. Because what I say all the time, and you know it, especially when we talk about people like Benoit, and obviously Hulk Hogan, what he did is nowhere close to what Benoit did. But
right,
I always say that I will never like or respect the man what he did in the ring now because of what he did outside the ring. So if you apply that same standard to Hogan, that's fine. If you can't separate the character from the person, that's okay. And like you're entitled to your own thing. This is a very touchy subject. People deal with this shit in their own ways. But what you can do is go online and harass people for trying to mourn somebody, like where their character and their art of work probably changed their life and probably gave these guys their careers. Like Chelsea Green. Chelsea Green probably wouldn't be a wrestler today without Hulk Hogan. Nobody really would be. We wouldn't be here without Hulk Hogan, right?
No.
Because if Hulk Hogan doesn't help Vince take WWF to the mainstream, the territories probably stay, which some people would argue would be a good thing. But the territories would stay, and we probably...
It would be more a carny system at this point. There's a chance it would get mainstream eventually, but it's one of those things like when you're talking about the development of the world. Like, if Columbus didn't land on North America, would America become a thing? Eventually, but we'd be set back years. And I think without Hogan there,
I think
wrestling would be set back.
We looked at like the same way as we look at something like motocross or like dirt bikes, like the monster truck thing. Like, yeah, there's a lot of people that love it and it has a fan base, but it's not a mega worldwide entertainment company where they're selling out like $1 million gates and doing 6-figure pay-per-view buys, right? Like, I don't think that would ever happen. It'd be more of like, oh, the Harlem Globetrotters are in town. Let's go watch them. Or the Savannah Bananas are here. It'd be like, oh, the wrestling people are here. Let's go watch the people wrestle. That's what it would be like. That's what Hulk Hogan and Vince together, two great people, by the way. The two people most responsible for the thing, for the hobby we love the most. Awesome. They did it, and that's the legacy of Hogan. That's what we're mourning today. I'm not mourning Terry Bollea, right? Him outside the ring overall, not great. I don't like him that much. Even I watched everything's getting posted. I watched the body cam from the cop the other day when his son almost killed that cop driving 100 miles an hour, and he's trying to use his status to help cover it up for it. Like, shitty person. Or his son got in the car accident with the Iraq vet, and he was trying to make that go away. Again, shitty person.
Or how he treated his daughter, and when he was trying to get her to be a big singer, but he wouldn't let her, dress a certain way, sing certain things, or everything that went down with Linda Hogan, or, whenever he wasn't with the WWE, how he'd badmouth them. Or even, he's always lied and inflated details, but lately it was awful.
You just remind me with the lion thing. Like, because this kind of segues into the next thing I kind of want to talk about with Hogan. Is like, I kind of know why Hogan, like, supported Trump so much. Is they both lie the same way.
Yeah.
Right? They have to take credit for everything, or if something went wrong, it's not as bad as you think, or it's somebody else's fault. Like, if I look up, like, a list of Hulk Hogan's lies, like, tell me, like, these aren't, like, something, like, Trump would say if he was a wrestler. He wrestled 400 days in 1 year since he traveled between Japan and USA so much. The time difference added up to make it possible. Like, that's something like Trump would say, like, oh, I'm working so hard as president. I worked 400 days this year. You're traveling the jet, crossing the jet line so much, it adds it up. He was supposed to be a representative or sponsored for grills that went to George Foreman, the Foreman Grills. And again, that's another thing. Trump would get jealous of somebody getting success on a thing, so he'd be like, actually, I was supposed to do that, but I turned it down because it was so bad.
I chose Pastamania instead.
He was supposed to play bass for Metallica and the Rolling Stones.
Yeah.
The wrestler director Darren Aronofsky, maybe, offered him the lead role multiple times, but Hogan said he turned it down as he didn't deserve it. The director said he never considered Hogan once. He was scouted out of high school by the Yankees and Cincinnati Reds, who Macho Man actually played for. But an injury prevented it. Again, jealous of Macho Man prior successes. Claims he fought, this is my favorite one, claims he fought Pride fighters in the 70s. The Pride Fighting company organization wasn't founded until 1997.
And with his lies, like when he first started, I guess, embellishing, it was little things, and I think that's where the issue came in. No one like truly called him out. Like, oh, Andre was an 8-foot giant, almost 1,000 pounds. I slammed in front of 100,000 people.
Oh yeah, that was
or
the
like
one.
When Andre
he weighed 600 pounds, and Andre would pass away a few days after he slammed him. And tore 18 muscles in his back. And obviously he did not die days after WrestleMania 3, obviously.
Well, and he did that in the business too. I will say the one thing I'll defend Hulk Hogan on is people talk about how he would bury talent, right? Come on, if you look at Stone Cold, if you look at John Cena, they're not burying talent. They are the threshold to where you are being held. You're being measured. Sorry to all the Ken Kennedy fans and all the Mark Marrow fans and all the Dino Bravo fans, but your guys couldn't cut the mustard, all right? There's a reason they weren't heavyweight champion of the WWE. Because they didn't match up to these people. People complain, oh, it's only the same people in the main events. Yeah, because it's a main event. It's a main attraction. You don't go to a zoo to look at a kookaburra, all right? You go to the zoo to look at the lion. You go to the zoo to look at the tiger, and the Hulk Hogan's, John Cena, Stone Colds are the lions and tigers. And before we go on to the next thing, you talked about not being able to separate Hogan from Terry Bollea. Brian Zane actually said it best on his Hulk Hogan tribute video that the issue with that, when people bring that up, is nobody blurred the lines more between wrestling and real life than Hulk Hogan / Terry Bollea. I mean, look at the amount of fans that are coming out now that are shocked. They didn't even know Hulk Hogan wasn't his real name.
I know.
He said brother so much in his promos that as he talked in real life, it'd come out, brother. Oh, how's it going, brother? How's it going, Jack? It's kind of like how Macho Man talked so much that became his real voice. Yeah, Hogan blurred. He was always, until the end, wearing some sort of Hulk Hogan memorabilia. A bandana, a shirt, something. Even glasses for a time. I mean, Hogan lived the gimmick. And there's nothing wrong with that. But that's my argument when someone says, oh, I'm going to separate the two. Because, you know, Chris Benoit, that was his real name. That's why that's hard. But Hulk Hogan's not his real name. The TV show wasn't Bollea Knows Best. All right?
Yeah.
We didn't call her Linda Bollea. We didn't call her Brooke Bollea. We didn't call him Nick Bollea. It was Hogan Knows Best. Linda Hogan, Brooke Hogan, Nick Hogan. So I mean, yeah, Hogan blurred the line. But again, that's what made him so good. And yeah, it's just I've seen that, and then I've seen people, oh, you know, if he would have wrestled in this, the other two that I want to touch on real fast is if he would have wrestled in X era, he wouldn't be as good because he didn't work well in the ring. Hogan didn't have to work well in the ring, but he could. And that's the thing. His matches, him hulking up, him doing a slam, him fighting off the big guys, that had drawing power. There's a reason King Kong Bundy in a steel cage main event at WrestleMania 2, all right? There's a reason they tried people like Sid Vicious / Sid Justice in the main event. Because Hogan was there. And then the other I've seen, which just baffles me, is it goes along with, oh, Hogan didn't bring it into mainstream. It's, oh, well, wrestling was popular before Hulk Hogan. My grandpa knew of Bruno Sammartino, or oh, my grandpa knew of, you know, Harley Race and Dusty Rhodes. Yeah, you knew of them, but the sport wasn't as popular. Like, I'm sure in the 90s, my dad knew who Ken Shamrock was. My dad knew who Dan Severn was. My dad knew who Don Fry was. That doesn't mean the UFC was as popular as it is now. Yeah, Gorgeous George had just the aura of mainstream appeal. Vern Gagne was one of the first people to advertise on television. Superstar Billy Graham helped bring wrestling into color. Yes, all super important. Why was Bruno so big in Madison Square Garden? Because of his culture. It was in that region. The same reason that the Funks and the Rhodes and the Blanchards were so popular in the South. The same reason that the Grahams were so popular in Florida. Because of regions. Hulk Hogan broke through regions and captivated the world. Yes. Did Antonio Inoki do a lot for professional wrestling? Yes. Did El Santo and Mil Mascaras start in films and make many an individual want to be a luchador? Yes. But nobody, not even Flair, not even anyone else that someone's going to try and throw at me, Giant Baba, Ricky Dozen, whoever you want to say, Hogan brought wrestling to its peak. Was their basketball stars better before Michael Jordan? You could argue. Was there anyone that had the impact on the NBA like Jordan? No. Was there baseball players better and even, talked about in circles more than a Babe Ruth or a Willie Mays? Yeah. Are those two the people that made baseball popular and brought it back at some instances? Yes. Hogan is the guy, and this is one of those things where it's hard to take away from his legacy. There's a reason why when they wanted to wipe his Hall of Fame away and they wanted to eliminate him, that it was so hard. Like Benoit, I remember they scrubbed, gone. And again, two completely different things. But it would be hard to scrub away, 9 WrestleManias in a row? And then WrestleMania 18 and 19, he had a big hand in. 20, he was inducted in the Hall of Fame. 21, he came out for Eugene. 30, he's a host. It's a lot. But yeah, it's definitely gonna rock the industry. I will say my two favorite things I've seen on social media. One is there's this erroneous thing going around that The Rock and John Cena are now the oldest living wrestlers.
Yep.
I don't want to say this is a fact, but I'm pretty sure R-Truth's older than Cena.
Yeah.
And I mean, since The Rock's listed, it's clearly not full time. So Ric Flair's alive. Dory Funk's alive.
I seen Sergeant Slaughter getting his media stops.
Yeah.
Trying to capitalize on
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. But you said you had something else you wanted to get to when it came to Hulk Hogan.
Yeah, it was about the lies thing. Because I'm going over the lies, right? Like he partied with John Belushi in Mania 2, after Mania 2 in 86, when he died in 1982. And then the song at the beginning of this episode comes from this. He claims he was touched by a Make-A-Wish kid so much, he personally invited them to see him at SummerSlam 1992. And when out and the seat was empty and Hulk Hogan knew he was gone. Touched by the Hulkster, recorded a song about him, including the line, "I guess there'll be another empty seat when I wrestle at Wembley." He was never on that card.
No, he was not. And you know what's funny about the Belushi thing? You mentioned how the others, he was jealous of people. It's pretty well known that Dusty Rhodes actually did party with John Belushi. So there's another instance of... that's a lot of his stuff comes from jealousy or wanting to be the guy. I tried defending his Brock Lesnar comments years ago because, Hogan was old and a lot of the stuff he had some truth. But his more thing, as he said more, I realized, probably not worth defending it. We were actually, fun fact, we were going to record an episode on how it's hard to be a Hulk Hogan and Ric Flair fan. And that was my biggest, I'll admit, I told you before this, I'm standing in line at Quality Dairy. I got my dad my drinks on lunch.
Quality Dairy, what a...
Boom.
What a...
Boom, Snapchat comes in. And Hulk Hogan died? And I'm staring at it. I'm like, no. Bubba Love Sponge was lying. Someone probably just saw it. And then boom, Facebook message from my mom. TMZ reports Hulk Hogan dead. Is this true? Boom, another message from someone I went to school with. Hulk Hogan die? And then I'm like, I guess I gotta look. Go on Twitter, type Hulk Hogan. There it is. I'll admit my heart sank. I love the Hulkster. He's actually one of my 4 people downstairs on my shelves.
Yep.
Now Ric Flair's the only one left. Hogan, Savage, Piper all gone. I have that FOMO now because he was in the state of Michigan.
Dude,
and that was like the closest he came.
He was 10 minutes from my house. He was at that liquor store I was telling you about, and I didn't go.
And I kept watching because I was like, maybe TMZ picked up the Bubba the Love Sponge article, and he's not dead. And then they released the phone call, and you're like, oh shit, Hulkster's really gone. Like this is real. You said Slaughter made his media tour. Of course, the first person to jump on this was Ric Flair. He did a video. He was crying at the bar. I I saw a thing that said when you're a waiter at a bar and you see on TV that Hulk Hogan just died and Ric Flair stumbles into the bar crying. Cause you know that could not have been fun for them. But then I was worried that he wasn't gonna get a lot of outpouring of emotion. Like I knew that there'd be some people, the Slaughters, the Flairs, the Bubba Dudleys, that would definitely be like, oh, Hulk Hogan. But others, I was like, man, I don't know what is gonna be said. And I was watching it, you know. I typed our post. I talked about his IWGP Championship, his 2 Royal Rumble wins, his WWE Tag Title, which when we get to our memories of Hogan, I'll get to that. Like I said, Ric Flair was first. Dave Meltzer reported. Charlotte Flair said when her dad nearly died 8 years ago, one of the few people who was there was Hogan. And Ric Flair also said that Hogan sent him money when Reed Flair died and Rick wasn't working. We're getting a lot of people behind the scenes talking about the good Hogan did. Conrad Thompson said it was the reason he fell in love with wrestling. I saw a lot of the video of Hogan getting booed, which a little sad in retrospect that that's the last Hogan reaction. A little irony that the day he passed was 10 years after the report of
today.
When it was to the day 10 years. He got 10 years out of it. Vince Russo tweeted, the Iron Sheik parody account tweeted, all the wrestling organization. Well, I didn't see AEW say anything, but the NWA, TNA, WWE, IWGP, AAA, they all said something about the Hulkster. Brutus Beefcake, he said, through the good times and the bad, I always loved my brother Terry. I am devastated by the loss of my friend. I only wish we had time to mend our broken friendship before his passing. Until I see you, brother, in the big squared circle in the sky, I love you. Brutus should have learned from Hogan and just lied and said that they reconciled before his death, like Hogan did Savage. Anyway.
Yeah, who's gonna call him out? You know?
Yeah. Then WWE put their stuff out. As I said, TNA. CM Punk said whether you hate or is that him or is that a nope? That's a fan page. I don't like the check marks on Twitter. A lot of stuff about the NWO.
We got fooled by a fake Dominic Mysterio a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, we did.
We're like, oh shit, dude, Dominic Mysterio just followed us. Wow. And then I was like, oh, it's just a fan.
Jake Roberts sent his regards. Kane said Hulk Hogan was a true legend. I was fortunate to work with him a couple of times. It was easy to do the Hulkster impersonation when, like millions of guys my age, I'd practice it in the mirror 1,000 times growing up. Rick Martel, Paul Orndorff's family. Like I said, a lot of videos of the NWO turn and the Hogan Rock match. Roddy Piper's family and Arn Anderson all reached out. The Undertaker said the wrestling world has lost a true legend. His contributions to our business are immeasurable, and for that I am appreciative. Thank you, Hulk Hogan. Kurt Angle, Rip Hulkster, thank you for opening up doors for so many people in the business, including myself. There would not be a Kurt Angle without the American-made Hulk Hogan. My heart and prayers go out to his family. We lost a real icon today. To me, the biggest one that I was waiting for, Vince McMahon. The world lost a treasure today. Hulk Hogan was the greatest WWE superstar in all time, or in all caps, all time. Someone who was loved and admired around the world. He was a trailblazer, the first performer who transitioned from being a wrestling star into a global phenomenon. His grit and unbridled thirst for success were unparalleled and made him the consummate performer. He gave everything he had to the audience whom he appreciated, respected, and loved. He leaves us with one of his favorite expressions, train, take your vitamins, and say your prayers. Today, we pray for him. We also heard from Biss. Triple H said a nice post on here. A lot of people are memeing Triple H because comparing his post to Hulk Hogan and his post to Ozzy, the Hulk Hogan one looks AI written, and the Ozzy one comes from the heart. I don't know how true that is or not. Bully Ray has been a big supporter of Hogan. As a young fan, I'll never forget the day Bob Backlund brought you out to help him. As an old pro, I will never forget how much you meant to my career. A lot of people might not remember, but Hogan, again, I mean, he was there with the feud with the Aces of Eights, which turned Bubba into a single star. Michael P.S. Hayes reached out. Madison Square Garden tweeted about it. It was everywhere. They even posted on the arena itself. The Rock, as you said, to millions of little kids, you were a childhood hero, myself included. In '84, I gave you your Hulkster headband back in the locker room of Madison Square Garden. I was the lucky kid who caught it when you threw it in the crowd. You were wrestling Mr. Wonderful that night in the main event. You were shocked and so happy after the match because you told me this was your very last headband. And if it weren't for me, you'd have no way of getting the exact one made again. You promised me that you would get me more made and give me a Hulkster headband of my own as a gift. A month later in Madison Square Garden, you did just that. You kept your word with a handshake and a thanks, kid. And that meant the world to that 12-year-old little boy. Just 17 years later, and still a kid at the age of 29, I'm standing in the middle of the ring and facing you, one of my wrestling heroes in the main event of WrestleMania. The match was to decide who would go down in history as the greatest of all time. I roll. When you kick out of my rock bottom finisher, just listen and feel that crowd go electric. All for you. I've never felt anything like that in my entire wrestling career. It takes two to tango. But that historic crowd reaction was all for you. You may have passed the torch to me that night, but you, my friend, you drew the house. Meaning you sold out every arena and stadium across the country in your prime as Hulk Hogan, on your way of becoming the greatest of all time. From deep in my bones, and on behalf of the wild and crazy world of professional wrestling that we love, I say to you now and forever, thank you for the house, brother. Thank you for the house. Rest in peace, Terry Bollea. Hashtag GOATs. And the last one really actually came 12 hours ago from time of recording with Shane McMahon. Commented on his dad's post, my dad cannot have been more eloquent about what he wrote about the Hulkster. What a deep loss for us all. Hulk's legacy is truly immortal. Thank you, Terry, for everything that you did for both the McMahon and WWE family. We will all miss you. Godspeed, brother. I didn't touch on it, but Stone Cold also discussed it. John Cena put out an Instagram post. Chelsea Green seems to be the only one truly receiving flack. I don't know if it's because she's a newer star. So, like, is there a fine line between, you know, these old heads can say something, but a new one can't? I don't know. They did a tribute for him on SmackDown. I'm sure SummerSlam, which SummerSlam was created, really, as another event to showcase Hulkamania, whether it was the Mega Bucks versus the Mega Powers, or Macho Man and Zeus against Hogan and Beefcake. Hogan was a big part of SummerSlam. Even later in his career, he infamously fought Shawn Michaels and Randy Orton both at SummerSlam. I think I could go on and on about Hogan and what he's meant. But the last story thing I'll say is I've touched on it a lot. 2002, after WrestleMania 18, is when I truly became a wrestling fan. My first big memory I have is that July 4th SmackDown. Hulk Hogan and Edge. I knew of Hulk Hogan because of the Bash at the Beach tape that I got from a family member, because of the WrestleMania 1 tape, because of my great-grandma, my grandma, my grandpa, as I was getting into wrestling, knowing who Hogan was, talking about Hogan. being able to play as him on WCW Mayhem, I believe, even Legends of Wrestling at that point. That might have been a year later. But Hogan came out. He was waving the American flag. He teamed with Edge. They did the double boot. They did the double leg drop, and they won the tag titles. And even though I was new to wrestling, and I didn't truly know Edge, I recognized Christian from the games. I knew who Hogan was. And even then, I knew how special it must have been for someone to win championship gold with someone that's their hero and that they idolize. And you got to hit his moves with him. And even being just a, little dumb shit 6-year-old, I could tell how special that was just watching it through the TV, how the announcers put it over, the interview after. And then fast forward to Vengeance. I guess they fought Billy and Chuck there. They lost to Christian at Vengeance. Fast forward to then, my first wrestling pay-per-view I'm watching as it's happening, and Hogan and Edge lose, and I get angry. And I'm mad, and I'm like, why would they have them lose? The Un-Americans suck. That's Hulk Hogan. And then that's, with wisdom, my dad sitting on the couch says, the only reason he won is because it was the 4th of July. He's like, you got to make these Un-Americans look bad, so they beat an American hero who won it on the 4th of July. He wasn't going to hold it a long time. So even then, my first memories, my first true wrestling memories, whether it be tapes I watched, games I played, the SmackDowns I watched, sprinkled with that Hulk dust. And I don't know if there'll be another theme song that, to steal a phrase from The Rock that gives me, goosebumps, like Real American when it came out. Even when he'd show up on a Raw, or he'd show up, in Saudi Arabia for captaining Team Hogan, Real American plays, I'm glued to the TV. The first instance of a Logan scripture or a Logan's DIY was our freshman year of college.
Yeah.
I talked about, that's when Hogan was with the company, that's when Rusev and all these other foreign baddies were running wild. I said it made sense for Hulk Hogan to be the 5th man of a Team Cena against, a bad villain group. Really the first instance of playing around with the booking. And even in a video game, the 2 times that I've made myself and really ran with myself. SmackDown vs. Raw 2006. Muhammad Hassan and Daivari start with the SmackDown Tag Championship for some reason. I made myself. I teamed with Hulk Hogan. We took the belts from him, brother. WWE 2K15 in the dorms freshman year. Because we weren't just making ourselves, we were making gimmicks for everyone. Mm-hmm. That's when Axelmania was running wild. So I was Hulk Logan. Made myself, just put on the Hulk Hogan stuff and took the moves. 10 years between those 2 games. And the dream idea still stayed alive. I wanted to be Hulkamaniac. Now, again, did that change when everything came out? Yeah. Did I have to be a closeted Hulkamaniac and not post and be like, oh, look at that, knowing people would hate on it? Yeah. As I said, we were going to do a podcast about how hard it is to be a Hogan and Flair fan. I know Terry Bollea was a bad guy. But Hulk Hogan, as it says in one of my college essays, from Henson to Hogan, Hulk Hogan is one of my idols, one of my heroes, and it's going to take a long time for there to be another life event that hits, like standing in that Quality Dairy line and reading that Hulk Hogan has passed away.